The crash left her broken, but the woman who healed her heart changed everything. The rain had been falling for hours, a steady drumming that blurred the world into streaks of silver. Emma Blake tightened her grip on the steering wheel, squinting against the glare of headlights on the slick road. She hated driving at night in storms, but she had been stubborn, determined to make it home after dropping off her last batch of paintings at the gallery. Just 10 more minutes, she told herself. Then she could curl up in bed with a blanket, listen to the storm instead of fight it. But the road had other plans. Her tires hit a patch of water. The car jolted, skidded sideways. Her heart jumped into her throat as the guardrail rushed toward her. She slammed the brakes, too late. The world exploded in sound and motion, metal shrieking, glass shattering, her body thrown forward as the seatbelt bit into her chest. For one dizzy second, she thought this was it. Then darkness swallowed her whole. A voice broke through the haze. Steady. Calm. A woman's voice. Stay with me. You're going to be okay. Emma wanted to open her eyes, but everything was heavy, her body leaden. She felt hands on her, firm and reassuring. You're safe. I won't let go. And then, nothing. The next time she woke, it was to the antiseptic sting of hospital air and the beep of monitors. She groaned, shifting slightly, every muscle aching as though she'd been pulled apart and stitched back together. Easy, came that same voice. Emma turned her head. A woman stood beside her bed, dressed in scrubs, dark hair pulled back in a messy bun. Her eyes, warm, intelligent, endlessly steady, locked on Emma's. You're awake, the woman said softly. Relief flickered across her face. I'm Dr. Amelia Hayes. You were in an accident, but you're safe now. We repaired a few fractures and cuts. You'll be sore, but you're going to recover. Emma blinked at her, words tangled on her tongue. You saved me? Amelia's lips curved, not quite a smile, more like reassurance. That's my job. But you did the hard part, you held on. Emma let her head sink back into the pillow, her gaze still fixed on the doctor. There was something about her presence, like a steady anchor in the chaos. And though Emma's body throbbed with pain, a strange thought crossed her mind. I've never felt safer in my life. The hospital was quiet that night, except for the distant hum of machines and the occasional footsteps of a nurse. Emma lay in her bed, staring at the ceiling, tracing the shadows the lights made. Pain still pulsed through her body, but it was the kind of ache that whispered she was alive. And alive, it seemed, meant Amelia Hayes. Dr. Hayes appeared at the door, clipboard in hand, her scrubs slightly rumpled from a long shift. She paused when she saw Emma watching her, then offered a soft smile. How's the pain? Amelia asked, pulling up a chair beside the bed. Better, Emma said, her voice hoarse. Thanks, for, everything. Amelia shrugged lightly, flipping open the clipboard. It's my job. But, you're healing well. Stronger than I expected. Emma's lips twitched in a faint smile. I'm always underestimated. Amelia chuckled, a warm, quiet sound that made Emma's chest flutter. She leaned closer, adjusting a pillow behind Emma's back. Maybe so. But not by me. There was a pause, a soft hum of connection that neither knew how to name. Emma wanted to ask Amelia how she stayed so calm in the chaos, how her presence could make fear feel impossible. But the words caught in her throat. Instead, she said, Do you always talk to patients like this? Amelia raised an eyebrow, eyes bright behind her glasses. Do I seem like a warm, fuzzy person? Emma laughed softly. The sound surprised her. It felt light, free, like air she hadn't breathed in weeks. Maybe a little. But, it suits you. Amelia looked down at her hands for a moment, then back at Emma. It's easier when someone is worth talking to. Emma's heart skipped. Worth talking to. Worth noticing. The words hung between them, unspoken but heavy with meaning. That night, as Amelia left the room, Emma found herself tracing the outline of the chair where the doctor had sat. She didn't know why, but the empty space felt like a small void, a place she wanted filled with Amelia's presence. For the first time since the accident, Emma realized that surviving wasn't enough. She wanted something more. And for the first time, she wondered if she might find it in the woman who saved her. The days that followed felt strangely suspended for Emma. Pain was still a constant companion, but it was softened by Amelia's presence. Every morning, the doctor would appear with her brisk efficiency, checking vitals and adjusting dressings, but lingering just a little longer than necessary, asking about Emma's comfort, about how she felt emotionally as much as physically. One rainy afternoon, the hospital corridors were nearly empty. Emma had just finished her physical therapy exercises, still wobbly on her feet, when Amelia appeared beside her with a steaming cup of tea. "You're moving faster than I expected," Amelia said, handing her the cup. "I might have to rethink my prognosis." Emma laughed, gripping the cup with both hands. "Or maybe I'm just determined to leave this place before I lose my mind." Amelia smiled, and it was the kind of smile that made Emma's heart feel like it might expand and escape her chest. "I'll take that as a compliment, though I think you might secretly enjoy driving me a little crazy." Emma tilted her head, studying her. There was a gentleness in Amelia's gaze, but also a spark of mischief. "Maybe I do," she said, her voice soft. For a long moment, neither spoke. They stood together, the soft hum of hospital life around them, the rain tapping against the windows. And Emma noticed how her hand brushed Amelia's when taking the cup, the contact electric, familiar, and startling all at once. "You have a way of making this place feel less like a hospital," Emma admitted, almost whispering. Amelia's eyes softened. "I guess I feel the same way with you." The words were small, almost fragile, but they settled over Emma like a warm blanket. She realized she was thinking about Amelia even when she wasn't in the room, replaying moments of laughter, the tilt of her head, the way her hand felt warm in hers. That evening, as the hospital corridors emptied, Amelia lingered at Emma's door longer than usual. "I should go," she said quietly, though neither moved. Emma swallowed, her voice trembling slightly. "You don't have to go." "Not yet." Amelia's gaze held hers, searching, questioning, and something unspoken passed between them. Slowly, deliberately, she reached out, brushing a strand of damp hair from Emma's forehead. "I'm not going anywhere," she whispered. Emma's breath caught, and her heart thudded like a drum. For the first time since the accident, she realized that what she felt for Amelia wasn't just gratitude. It was something deeper. Something that could grow into love. Blinds and warm stripes across her floor. Her body ached in unfamiliar ways, every movement reminded her of the crash, but she was free. Free from the hospital walls, free from constant reminders of her fragility. Except for one thing, she couldn't stop thinking about Amelia. No one had stayed with her like that before. No one had made her feel seen, safe, alive. The thought of Amelia's calm, steady presence made her pulse quicken. Her phone buzzed. A message from Amelia. "Just checking in. How's my favorite patient today?" Emma smiled, fingers trembling as she typed back. "Better now that I hear from you." Within minutes, a knock came at her door. Emma opened it to find Amelia standing there, holding a bag of groceries and wearing that soft smile that seemed to make the world lighter. "I thought you might need some help unpacking," Amelia said, stepping inside without waiting for an invitation. Emma laughed softly, stepping aside. "You always seem to know what I need." Amelia shrugged, but her eyes sparkled. "Part of the job, I guess." They spent the afternoon unpacking groceries, cooking a simple meal, and talking about everything and nothing. Amelia laughed easily at Emma's stories about her stubborn cat and failed attempts at baking. Emma watched Amelia, noticing the way her eyes crinkled when she smiled, the way her hands moved with grace even in casual tasks. At one point, Emma looked up from chopping vegetables. Amelia's gaze met hers. There was something unspoken in the moment, a quiet tension that neither dared to name aloud. "You know," Amelia said, her voice soft. I didn't expect to feel this, connected to anyone. Not in a long time. Emma's heart skipped. Neither did I, she admitted. They moved closer, drawn together as if by some invisible force. Emma's hand brushed Amelia's as they reached for the same utensil. Their eyes locked. Time seemed to slow. Emma, Amelia whispered, almost a question. Emma leaned in, closing the small distance between them, and kissed her. Gentle at first, exploratory, tasting the warmth that had been missing from both their lives. Amelia responded instantly, hands cradling Emma's face, and the kiss deepened, an unspoken promise of care, of desire, of beginnings. When they finally pulled apart, both were breathless, eyes shining. I didn't think. I mean, Emma stumbled, words failing her. Amelia smiled, brushing a loose strand of hair from Emma's cheek. You don't have to say anything. Just, stay with me tonight. We'll figure out the rest later. Emma nodded, heart pounding, and realized she didn't want to be anywhere else. For the first time since the accident, she felt whole. The apartment smelled of garlic and rosemary. Emma stirred the pasta sauce, trying not to burn it, while Amelia leaned against the counter, sipping wine and watching her with quiet amusement. You're nervous, Amelia observed, her tone teasing but soft. Emma paused, spoon in midair. Nervous? Me? About dinner? Amelia raised an eyebrow. Come on. I've seen the way you keep checking the oven, tapping your foot, fidgeting with the napkins. You're nervous. Emma groaned, dropping the spoon into the pot. Fine, yes. Maybe a little. But this isn't just dinner, Amelia. You're here. Amelia smiled, walking closer. She brushed her hand against Emma's shoulder in a casual gesture that made Emma's pulse quicken. I'm here because I want to be. Not because I have to. That simple sentence, so calm, so certain, made Emma's chest ache. She realized that all the days she had spent thinking about Amelia had been building to this moment, a quiet evening, two people, sharing a meal and something unspoken that simmered between them. They ate, talking about everything and nothing, the worst movies they'd ever seen, childhood fears, secret ambitions. Laughter flowed easily, filling the apartment with warmth that had nothing to do with the oven. After dinner, Emma led Amelia to the couch. They sipped the last of their wine, their legs brushing, hands occasionally finding each other, each touch sparking a small fire. Emma's voice was barely a whisper. Amelia. I don't know if this is okay. I mean, us. I feel like I shouldn't, but I can't stop thinking about you. Amelia cupped Emma's face in her hands, eyes intense yet gentle. Shoo, you don't have to think about what's right or wrong. I feel the same. I've been trying to ignore it, but I can't anymore. Emma's breath caught. And then, like all the hesitations, all the unspoken words, all the tension of the past weeks, melted away, they kissed. Slow. Tender. Exploratory at first, then deeper, more urgent. It wasn't just desire, it was relief, gratitude, and the intoxicating thrill of discovering love when they least expected it. Amelia whispered against her lips, You saved me too, Emma. I didn't know I needed this until now. Emma held her tightly, feeling every beat of her heart sinking with Amelia's. For the first time since the accident, fear didn't exist. There was only them, the warmth between them, and the promise of a new beginning. That night, as they lay together on the couch, hands entwined, Emma realized that survival had given her more than life, it had given her love. And she would never let it go. The days after that night blurred into a warm rhythm. Emma's apartment, once quiet and lonely, was now alive with Amelia's presence. They cooked together, sometimes laughing over burnt toast or spilled pasta sauce. They argued playfully over which jazz record to play, and Amelia taught Emma small first aid skills she could use on herself. Emma noticed how natural it felt to rely on Amelia, not just for care, but for comfort, for laughter, for grounding. Amelia, in turn, learned to lean on Emma's quiet strength, her sharp intuition, and the way she saw beauty in the smallest details of life. One morning, Amelia found Emma perched on a stool by the window, painting the sunlight spilling over the skyline. "You always find the light," Amelia said softly. Emma looked up, paintbrush in hand, and smiled. "It's easier to see when someone helps you notice it." Amelia walked over, resting her hand on Emma's shoulder. The warmth of that simple touch sent a shiver down Emma's spine. "I'm glad I can do that." Evenings were their favorite. They'd sit on the balcony with mugs of tea, wrapped in blankets, sharing dreams and confessions. Sometimes, Amelia would trace the faint scars on Emma's arms, not with pity, but with reverence. "You survived," she'd whisper. "And you're even more beautiful for it." Emma would press her face against Amelia's chest, feeling safe in a way she never had before. "You saved me in more ways than one," she replied. Their intimacy grew in small gestures, a hand brushing against another, a shared smile over breakfast, a kiss on the forehead when one returned from work. But even in the mundane, the sparks were constant, a reminder that love wasn't just about grand declarations, it was about these quiet, tender moments. One afternoon, Emma painted a portrait of Amelia, capturing the intensity and gentleness in her eyes. Amelia stood behind her, arms around her waist, whispering encouragements. "You have a way of seeing me," Amelia said softly. Emma paused, brush hovering. "Because I see you," she whispered. Amelia kissed the top of Emma's head. "Then I'm yours." Emma smiled against her shoulder, feeling whole. They had survived trauma, uncertainty, and fear, but together, they were learning how to thrive. For Emma, healing wasn't just physical anymore. It was emotional, spiritual, and deeply intertwined with the woman she loved. And every day, she discovered more reasons to stay, more reasons to fall deeper. A year had passed since that stormy night. The memory of the crash had once been sharp, a jagged line in Emma's mind, but now it lingered more like a shadow softened by light. She and Amelia had grown together, creating a world of warmth, laughter, and love that had seemed impossible before. Emma suggested they drive to the roadside where the accident happened. The weather was calm today, sunlight glinting off the wet asphalt like a promise. Amelia drove, her hand brushing against Emma's on the console, their fingers entwining naturally. When they arrived, the guardrail looked ordinary now, harmless. Emma stepped out first, feeling the uneven gravel under her feet. She carried a small canvas, a painting she had made, the storm breaking into sunlight, dark clouds dissolving over a calm sea. "I thought, maybe we could leave this here," Emma said, setting the painting gently against the guardrail. "A reminder that we survived. That we came through the storm together." Amelia wrapped her arms around Emma from behind, resting her chin on her shoulder. "We did," she whispered. "And look at us now." Emma leaned back against her, eyes glistening with tears. "I was so scared that night. I didn't think I'd make it." "You did," Amelia said firmly, tilting her head so their eyes met. "And I was lucky enough to be there." "But you saved yourself too, Emma. And you saved me in ways you don't even know." For a long moment, they simply stood together, the quiet hum of life around them. And then Emma turned, facing Amelia fully. "You didn't just save my life. You gave me a new one. A life I never imagined, and I don't want it without you." Amelia's eyes softened, shimmering in the sunlight. She cupped Emma's face and kissed her, slow and deliberate, a kiss full of relief, gratitude, and unwavering love. "Then stay with me," Amelia whispered against her lips. "Always." Emma smiled, heart pounding. "Always." They stayed there for a while longer, hand in hand, watching the clouds part and the sunlight spill across the road. The crash that had once threatened to end everything had become the beginning of something beautiful, a love forged in survival, strengthened by care, and deepened by trust. That day, the road no longer held fear. It held hope. It held life. And most importantly, it held them, together. The apartment was filled with sunlight, the air carrying the faint scent of coffee and fresh paint. Emma stood by the window, brush in hand, putting the finishing touches on a new canvas. It was a portrait of Amelia, her eyes captured with painstaking care, the mixture of strength and tenderness that Emma had fallen in love with over the past year. Amelia appeared behind her, arms wrapping around Emma's waist, chin resting lightly on her shoulder. "Another masterpiece," she teased softly. Emma smiled, leaning back into her embrace. "Only because you make it easy to see beauty everywhere." Amelia kissed the top of her head. "You've changed me too, you know. You've taught me to slow down, to see life beyond the emergencies and the chaos. To just live." Emma laughed quietly, brushing a hand along Amelia's forearm. "We saved each other, didn't we?" Amelia nodded, pressing her forehead to Emma's. "We did. And I wouldn't trade a single moment of it. Not the accident, not the fear, not even the pain. It all led me to you." They moved to the couch, settling side by side, fingers entwined. The world outside continued its busy rhythm, but inside, there was only calm, love, and warmth. Emma traced the faint scars on her arm, feeling Amelia's gentle touch following her movements, not with pity, but with reverence. "You're my miracle," Amelia whispered. Emma smiled, heart full. "And you're mine." Together, they built a life rich in quiet joys, morning coffee shared with laughter, late-night conversations about dreams yet to come, and endless kisses that said what words could not. Emma's paintings adorned the walls, each a testament to love, survival, and the unexpected beauty of second chances. Sometimes, at night, they would sit on the balcony, watching the stars emerge. Amelia would point out constellations, Emma would sketch them, and they would talk about everything and nothing, content and the simple truth that they had found each other. The crash that had once threatened to end everything had, in the end, given them life. Not just life, but love. And they carried it forward together, hand in hand, hearts forever intertwined. Because sometimes, the greatest gift isn't just surviving, it's discovering someone who makes survival worth every heartbeat.